Hello, hello. I'm so happy that you're here. Today I have a video that's gonna be a life changer for you when doing your bullet journal. And it's simply by adding a grid and spacing layout. You know, there's certain layouts that I have to have in my bullet journal. Regardless of the month or year, they are part of my permanent bullet journal layout collection. And you can see most of them in my playlist called Collection Ideas. These are layouts such as my dream journal, my positive affirmation layout, my thankfulness layouts, and one of the last ones that I shared with you, my wellness layout. And you might be thinking, out of all the great layouts that I can add to my collections, why wouldn't add something as a grid and spacing page? And the answer is quite simple. It's because we use it all the time. Every time I'm gonna do a new layout, I'll be searching for my ruler and sometimes even my calculator because I want to know how I should be dividing my page. And there's just so many ways to do it, so many configurations, that it can take some time if you don't have a guide such as this one. The idea basically being that this layout is some sort of cheat sheet on how many squares you can count in a page and how many ways you can divide your page. Some of you might already have it and have been rocking your bullet journals with its help. Some might be new to this concept, and that was me some time back. It took me a while not only to find it out, but to understand how to use it to my advantage. So I wanted to create this how-to or tutorial video for you. Let's talk about the how-to. Honestly, this layout is very easy to set up and it shouldn't take you a long time. The first thing you need to do is to count how many squares you have vertically and horizontally. Most of us use a notebook for bullet journaling in a size A5, and the grid is usually 0.5 centimeters apart. But even if we use the same sizes and dimensions, you'd be surprised how much one notebook can vary from one to another. Which is why you'll always see me counting how many spaces I have in each one of my pages. In this case here, I'm using my Doodle That Matters notebook. So if it is useful to you, you can simply copy mine. Next, you will have to divide your page by half, both in vertical and horizontal. In some notebooks like mine, you have already the center marked, so it makes that much easier. But if not, we already counted and we can find the middle easily. Then you can add as many dimensions as you need. Think of your weekly layouts, for example. I like to have 7 squares that have the same dimensions, which is why you'll see these measurements in my layout. I will be dividing the page in 2, in 3, in 4, and 5. But you might need something else, so just give it a little bit of thought. And remember that you can always add some other measurements later. Now, there's many ways you can set up your guide or your layout, and I'll give you some tips. The first one I'll give you, and it's quite visible here in my video, is color coding. In my case, I'm color coding them vertically and horizontally depending on the times I divided the page. For example, half is in blue, thirds is in red, quarters is in green, and fifths is in baby blue. And you'll see on the left page that I make the lines in that color to be able to see how many divisions I can get from that number. And then on the right hand page, I'm creating boxes to represent the final outcome. These little boxes, or blocks if you may, give me an exact idea of what the box will look like in my bullet journal. And I even add the number of spaces I used inside the box, because just drawing the grids and lines might be a bit confusing, so then I have the boxes that are quite visual. In my case, I like to use 2 pages, but you can easily do it all in one. It's up to you. What I do recommend is that you do it on your left-hand page, because it's an easier page to access, especially if it is in the beginning of your notebook. This layout, along with a pen test, are one of my most do layouts when I have a new notebook. I highly recommend them. Adding the spacing to each dimension, it's a must for me. You'll see that first, there's a number for the base spacing, followed by the height spacing. For example, for half the page, I have that there's 13 spaces as the base and 19 spaces for the height. For the third, I have 8 and 12. For the fourth or quarter, I have 6.5 and 9.5. And for the fifth, I have 5 spaces and 7 spaces. And I even add the sixth measurement, which is 4 and 6. Hopefully this is not sounding as a math class to you. But believe me, it's not difficult and it is very, very helpful. In my case, it's the third measurement that I use the most, which means that I use 8 spaces as my base and 12 spaces as my height, although I kind of change the height from month to month. And as my last tip, I just tell you that I recommend that you somehow mark that page because you will be using it a lot. I like to do so with washi tape or post-its. You can create a little tab or maybe just add some wash to the border of your page so that it always stands out and is easy for you to access it. And there's a couple of tips that I found online that I'm looking forward to try it out in my next bullet journal. The first one is to add a more detailed measurement for things I use a lot in my bullet journal, like a calendar box and a having tracker box. I think that's a great idea. I already know that my calendar boxes are usually 4 spaces times 4 spaces, but it will be great to have it down in a layout that I can easily see. And the second idea is to have this layout as a separate guide, as some sort of stencil. Now that's a great idea. You make this grid and you cut it out and you keep it in the back pocket of your journal and take it out every time you need it. Leave me a comment below if you'd like me to try it out and share this video with you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope that you find this video helpful. And I'll see you next week when I post a new video. In the meantime, keep creative, keep safe, and always be kind. Bye! Please like and share my video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you next time!